Whispered shadows.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 1 of Ghost Week with Whispered Shadows. Tonight, we will visit several haunted homes and uncover a collection of true horror stories that feel disturbingly real and deeply spine-chilling. So sit back, get comfortable, and let the darkness and the shadows take over. I want to share a true story that happened to my parents about 30 years ago. I've always been a fan of paranormal stories, and I usually try to find logical explanations for everything, but this story feels too real, too strange, and it has always left me without answers. My parents were both skeptics. Everyone who has heard this story tried to rationalize it, but no one has ever found a reasonable explanation. No scientific answer, no theory that truly fits, just a haunted experience that casts long shadows over their lives. In 1995, my parents lived in Bangalore, India, for about a year due to my father's work contract. It was meant to be temporary. His company offered them a duplex apartment, and they accepted without knowing the place held something hidden within its shadows. The apartment was comfortable and well-maintained, with 2 house helpers who took care of cleaning and cooking. Life felt easy, almost perfect. A young couple with no children, living peacefully. Everything seemed normal, too normal for what would become a true haunted beginning. My mother didn't work at the time, so she often stayed home alone. On the same floor lived an elderly woman. Every time they crossed paths, the woman stared in a way that felt deeply unsettling, her gaze cold and spine-chilling. On their 3rd or 4th encounter, the woman asked, "Are you doing okay living in that flat?" My mother nodded. Then she asked again, "You don't feel anything?" The question lingered in the air like unseen shadows. The woman never explained what she meant, but after that she repeatedly warned my mother not to stay alone in the apartment, as if she knew something about that haunted place. One bright morning around 8 a.m., everything appeared normal. The floor had just been mopped. My mother and grandmother were in the kitchen. My father was reading the newspaper in the living room. There were no signs of anything unusual until the phone rang. It was tragic news. My mother's grandmother had passed away. She was heartbroken and handed the phone to my father. As he reached for the receiver, a drop of red liquid fell onto the floor. Then another. And another. It looked like blood. The first drops were large, followed by smaller ones, stopping near the balcony door. It didn't touch anyone. No one was injured. No leaks. No visible source. No real explanation. The floor had just been cleaned. The ceiling wasn't leaking. No one was hurt. So where did it come from? A true mystery inside a home that was beginning to feel undeniably haunted. The blood was left untouched. Over time, it dried into a brown, dusty stain. No one dared to clean it. Months later, on their final night before moving away, it happened again. This time near my mother. One large drop, then smaller ones following behind, as if the house did not want them to leave without leaving behind one final mark from its shadows. The next couple who moved in experienced something similar. They even attempted to collect the dried substance for laboratory testing, but the man was involved in a strange accident, and the sample disappeared without a trace. A spine-chilling turn that only deepened the mystery. Another story comes from Peru. A woman shared how her mother would frequently see a shadow figure at exactly 4 a.m. A glowing white circular light would appear and then vanish. A real encounter with shadows. Objects fell on their own. A large doll was thrown across the room as if by invisible hands. 5 children witnessed it together, too many to dismiss as imagination. After a priest blessed the house, the activity slowly stopped, but the haunted presence lingered in memory. There was also a house from the 1970s. Thick carpet echoing footsteps, vibrations moving closer to a bedroom door, then silence. Shadows passing across walls, walls that seemed to breathe, curtains moving on their own, a true and spine-chilling experience that could not be ignored. Then there's the story of the Hat Man, a tall figure wearing a long coat and a wide-brimmed hat, darker than darkness itself, a presence emerging from the deepest shadows. Objects moved, doors slammed shut at the same time. An attic staircase that once existed disappeared forever, as if the house swallowed part of itself. A medical worker who handled deceased bodies began feeling something follow her home. She heard her husband's voice when he wasn't speaking. Later, they discovered their house was built on former burial grounds, a real haunted foundation. When they went on vacation, the disturbances stopped. When they returned and attempted to cleanse the house, the activity grew worse. Eventually, they moved out, leaving the house behind with its shadows. Another account comes from a hotel on St. Charles Avenue. Alarms going off without reason, loud knocking at 8 a.m. with no one in the hallway, broken elevators. The atmosphere felt distorted, a true haunted reality bending around them. And finally, a sister saw a black figure standing on the staircase in their family home. Many others saw it too, but strangely, the primary resident of the house never saw anything at all, as if the shadows chose who was allowed to witness them. Hey guys, this is Shadows. Thank you for listening to Day 1 of Ghost Week. Tomorrow we'll return with more true horror stories, more real, more haunted, and even more spine-chilling from within the shadows.